Wall Street just got rocked because big shifts are happening right now. Today's unemployment numbers came in at 235,000 instead of the expected 225,000. Now, some might shrug that and say, only 10,000 more unemployed. But let me break it down. In today's fragile economy, every single miss matters. These numbers are like cracks in the foundation of your house. You don't always see the collapse right away, but the warning signs, they are there. And here's why this is huge news for Bitcoin. When the system starts wobbling, the world remembers that the Fed can't print jobs, but they can print dollars. And history shows us that when there's cracks starting to form, they reach for the money printer. And when the printer goes burr, that's when Bitcoin shines. Add to that, Jerome Powell speaks at the FOMC meeting tomorrow. And trust me, every hedge fund, every Wall Street bank, every retail investor, they'll all be hanging on every word out of his mouth because his tone could set the course for markets for the rest of the year. So here's the question. Are you going to panic like the masses are doing just right now, or are you going to prepare like a hodler? So, what's up, family? It's Coach Masi, and you're locked in to the Daily Hodl. This is where we break down the news, the noise, and the narratives so you can move with clarity in the world of chaos. So here's a fact. Today's report, 235K versus 225K expected jobs for unemployment. Why it matters. Jobs data is one of the most critical signals the Fed tracks. They are always looking at jobs. If unemployment comes in higher, it means cracks in growth. This can eventually push the Fed to consider cutting rates, which we all should want at this point in what's going on. You see, September, they decide if they're going to do a rate cut. As for the immediate impact, Wall Street doesn't like surprises. Stocks will wobble, just like they've done all week. Bond yields shift, signaling stress in the credit markets. Bitcoin, well, it loves chaos because every bad data point is proof that the system isn't as strong as they tell you it is. So you see, the Fed can't print jobs. They can only print money. And when weakness shows, that's the lever they pull. That's why Bitcoin matters. It's the hedge against the system itself. If you're a holder, you are now a hodler, even during the hard times, I hope. Now, let me give you an example. Look, back at March 2020, when COVID hit, unemployment spiked. The Fed responded with unprecedented stimulus. Stocks rebounded, but so did Bitcoin, from $3,800 to over $60,000 in just 1 year. That's what happens when cracks meet the money printer. So, Powell's FOMC speech is always a headline event. It's kind of like the Super Bowl. But tomorrow, it's loaded with even more weight. So here are 3 keys to watch. 1, tone on inflation. Is Powell still hawkish, or is he hinting at easing? Markets live and die by the wording. Economic outlook. Does he acknowledge today's weak jobs print as a concern? If yes, that's a signal. And lastly, policy guidance. Any clue about potential rate cuts in 2025? Or will he double down with his higher for longer speech that he gave before? Why it matters for Bitcoin? Well, if Powell is hawkish and stays hawkish, markets could sell off short term. But the bigger story, if Powell admits cracks in the economy, that's a loud alarm bell. Weaknesses force printing, and printing fuels Bitcoin adoption. Please understand that when Powell speaks, Wall Street listens. But Bitcoin doesn't care about Powell, and Bitcoin doesn't care about the Fed or trying to outlast the Fed because it's not a central banker. It's a decentralized exchange. Here's another example. In 2022, Powell's Jackson Hole speech tanked the stocks in 1 day. But Bitcoin's long-term trend didn't change. Why? Because Bitcoin isn't a quarterly game. It's a generational hedge. This is where most people fail. When headlines flash red, when the news outlets scream panic, and when Powell's tone shakes Wall Street, that's when most retail investors fold. Not me. I got diamond hands. But here's the truth. Holding isn't just about waiting. It's about surviving the test of conviction. Here are 3 key mindset shifts for hodlers like yourself. Noise versus signal. Headlines are temporary. Bitcoin's fundamentals are permanent. Then you have volatility, and that equals opportunity. Every dip has been a setup for future strength. And lastly, time plus conviction equals power. The strongest gains have always gone to those who refuse to sell in weakness. Every panic is a test. Hodling is just about tuning out the noise and remembering the signal. 21 million. No bailouts, no printing, no manipulation. Here's some historical proof as well. People who sold in 2018 at 3,000 never saw the 60,000 run in 2021. People who held through the 2022 crash, they're already back in profit today. See, Bitcoin rewards patience. Always has, always will. Now listen, family, this is not financial advice. This is for education and inspiration only, right? So stay disciplined and make moves that align with your goals. So let's land this plane today. Today's jobs report, weakness in the system. Powell tomorrow, a market shaking event. Think Super Bowl, and Bitcoin, it remains the alternative as the lifeboat in a stormy sea. So I'll ask you one question. What do you think Powell is going to say tomorrow? Because I want to know what you think Bitcoin will react like. Now drop your thoughts in the comments. If you got value today, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with your fellow Bitcoiners. That's your Daily Hodl. Stay sharp, stay disciplined, and as always, lead, pray, hodl. I'll see you in the next one.